Have you been thinking about getting a fursuit? As you can see, I got a fursuit recently. I wanted to put together a quick video that might be helpful if you're thinking about getting one too. There were some things during the process that surprised me, and I want to share these experiences with you. If you're thinking about getting a suit, let me know what you're excited about in the comments. If you've already got a suit, share your tips in the comments as well, and hopefully it'll help others out. Finding a maker. This is probably one of the hardest things about the process. The demand outpaces the supply in this case. A lot of people want fursuits, but there are only so many makers out there. Honestly, I can't give you a ton of advice here. It took me a while to settle on a maker, and I had to deal with multiple rejections before eventually getting accepted. Some things you should think about, though, when looking for a maker are price, style, quality, reputation, and turnaround time. You'll have to be patient and persistent during this process. It is not easy. Duct tape dummy. Once you do get accepted by a maker, you'll very likely have to get a DTD or duct tape dummy made. This is basically when you get into a painter suit and have some friends apply strips of duct tape all over your body. You ship this to your maker, and they use it as a reference to your body when making the suit. There are some makers that go off of measurements only, some want a DTD, and some want both. So be sure to check with your maker first. They might have specific requests as well. Like for mine, I also had to tape up parts of my hands and my feet. Making a DTD can take a bit of time, depending on how many people you have helping. The more the merrier in this case. I had 4 people helping me when I did mine. 2 were cutting tape, while the other 2 were applying it. It ended up only taking about an hour, which is relatively fast for a DTD. If you have less people helping, it can take up to a couple hours. You should wear some relatively form-fitting clothes when getting the DTD done. Clothes that you don't care about. More on that later. Now imagine standing in a T-pose for a few hours. Your arms are going to get tired. You'll want to get something that you could rest your arms on. A lot of people use brooms or mops. Might want some fans on too, as it could get a bit warm while you're doing this. Make sure you go to the bathroom beforehand too. After the DTD is done, you'll have to get cut out of it too. Make sure to get some medical scissors. They basically have blunt edges to prevent injuries. Remember how I told you to wear clothes that you don't care about? There's a decent chance your clothes will get cut while you're getting cut out of the DTD as well. Just be sure to be careful and take your time. Clear idea of your Sona. You'll need to have a very clear vision of your Sona in your head. And what I mean by that is, do you know all the markings, all the patterns, all the colors, and all the fur length of your Sona, especially in a 3D space? You might have a ref sheet, but it's only 2-dimensional. Your maker will translate this design into a fursuit, but as progress is made and questions come up, you'll need to be able to clarify and communicate your Sona's design clearly to your maker. For example, my maker asked me about fur lengths. It's not something I ever really thought of. I just considered my Sona floofy overall. But having that same fur length all over your suit can look a bit flat, and having varying lengths will make it look a bit more interesting. I asked my ref sheet artist for advice, and he was able to provide some suggestions that I passed on to my maker. Another interesting challenge I ran into is choosing fur colors. Fursuit makers, as far as I know, aren't actually custom dyeing furs for their clients. So that means in the end, you'll have to choose fur colors from what's available from fur manufacturers. And getting an exact match to your Sona's colors is pretty unlikely. I'm also colorblind too, so it made the process of choosing colors that much more difficult. Luckily, my maker was patient with me while I asked friends for a second opinion. In my case, my Sona is a steel blue, and that color fur sadly does not exist. So I had a little bit of a dilemma when it came to picking colors. I had to pick between a fur that was fairly close, but was slightly purple, or a fur that was a bit off, but a more vibrant blue. In the end, I decided to lean more towards the blue. It was a bit of a compromise that I had to make, and something that you might have to do as well when choosing your fur colors. Fun fact, colors can look very different depending on the light that they're in. Be sure to ask your maker for pictures in different environments. For example, a photo indoors and one outdoors. A video can help in this process too. First time suiting. I was really lucky the first time suiting. My maker was in town for Antler Northwest, and I was able to suit with him and his husband. It was fun suiting with folks who had a lot of experience. They taught me some of the basics, looked after me, and made sure things went smoothly. Go out with a handler, especially for the first time. Your vision will be more limited than you're used to, and your spatial awareness will be off. They can keep an eye on you and help you out if anything goes awry. Make sure you have all the right apparel. A lot of suitors will wear Under Armour leggings, shirt, and a balaclava. It'll help keep you cooler and help prevent getting too much sweat directly on your suit. Take a lot of breaks. Suits do get warm. You will get hot and sweat quite a bit. For my first time out, I was expecting my body to get really hot, but it was actually pretty tolerable. My head was getting really sweaty though, and the sweat was dripping into my eyes and mouth. Yeah. Headless lounges do exist so you could take off your head and cool off and hydrate. Heat exhaustion and heat stroke are very real concerns for suitors, so listen to your body and preemptively take breaks at first. I took breaks every 15 to 30 minutes, and it helped a lot. Care and maintenance. For me, the suit is definitely one of the most expensive purchases I've ever made in my life. I want to make sure I take good care of it. Your maker should have very specific instructions on how to properly care for your suit, so make sure you get that information from them. Luckily for my suit, it is machine washable, so that should make things easier in the long run. But you can't just throw it in the dryer. The heat could be very damaging. So I had to buy a drying rack to let the suit air dry. You'll need lots of fans as well to make sure it dries out quickly. Brush after washing and while drying to help keep the fur soft and looking good. Speaking of brushing, I had to buy a special brush as well, meant for detangling. For spot cleaning, I bought some Folex and a little green machine. Again, I want to emphasize, you should ask your maker for specific recommendations when it comes to care. Fursuit spray can be used in between cleanings for lighter suiting sessions. They're meant to disinfect the suit to prevent from any funk from building up. There are lots of fursuit spray vendors out there, but you could easily make your own as well. You can find recipes online. It usually consists of a mix of alcohol, water, and essential oils for a nice scent. I found an essential oil that smells like blueberry muffins, which is perfect for the color of my Sona. You'll have to be careful of certain spots though, like eyes. The alcohol could damage them. From what I could gather online as well, certain essential oils might be bad for foams, such as citrus. So do your research, and if anything, check with your maker first. Extra costs. Buying a fursuit is expensive, but there are a lot of incremental costs that could sneak up on you as well. None of these are required. You might already have some of these things already, but let's just say my credit card has been on fire these past few weeks. I talked about it in the previous section, but items related to cleaning and maintenance will be needed. Fursuit spray, Folex, a drying rack, a little green machine are some of the things that I bought. I had to buy items related to storing it too. I bought a clothing rack that holds all my suiting gear, and it looks pretty nice too, if I do say so myself. Travel and transportation is another thing you'll have to think about. Half the fun of getting a suit is going to cons with it. Do you have a large suitcase at home? If not, you'll need a safe way of transporting it, especially if you're flying. I bought a Pelican case based on recommendations from friends. They're tough, and I know it'll keep the suit safe from the elements when I travel. Another thing is, if you're flying to cons, you'll have to factor in baggage fees as well, since you'll likely have to check in larger luggage now. It's only been a few weeks for me so far, but it's been amazing having a fursuit. Seeing my Sona come to life and seeing people's reactions to it is truly a magical experience that I hope you get to experience at some point in your life. I hope this video was helpful, and best of luck in your furry journey.